Welcome to the Teachers on Fire podcast, where I profile agents of growth and transformation in education today. Each guest shares their highs, their lows, their passions, their goals, and the resources that are shaping their thinking and inspiring their practice. For show notes and links from each episode, visit teachersonfire.net. You can also follow the show at Teachers on Fire on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And of course, please subscribe to the show wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm your host, Tim Cavey. Let's meet today's guest. Today, I'm speaking with the electric Rae Hughart. Rae is a middle school math teacher, educational consultant, director of training and development at Teach Better Team, and the Teach Better Talk podcast host. And if you haven't given Teach Better Talk a listen, you need to. You can connect with Rae on Twitter and Instagram at Rae Hughart and check out her course offerings and resources at teachbetter.com. Rae, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Are you ready to talk education?
Oh, absolutely. This is my favorite topic to talk about. I'm in.
All right, well, let's do it. Let's get it started. First of all, tell us a little bit more about your current teaching contacts. We'd like to hear more about that.
Sure. So, hi, everyone. I am currently a sixth grade math teacher in Central Illinois, which I really, really enjoy. You know, I'm a part of a middle school that has all the bumps and bruises that, gosh, I think any middle school has, but I love this spot. I'm so fortunate to be able to hang out with, 12-year-olds all day. In addition, I am the director of training and development for the Teach Better team, which, I don't know, it's just kind of a vessel to connect with teachers. I love filling my day with either training them on standard-based grading or walking teachers through how to master personalized learning. One of my favorite things to do is to work with districts on how to connect with their local community to build themed internships that really create this bridge between our classrooms and the magic going on in them, and then also our community in that real-world application. But regardless of what my day looks like and who I'm working with, I really like, being with students by day and teachers by night. So love talking education.
Let's jump into teachbetter.com for a second. Tell us a little bit more there about what you offer teachers, and is there a course or a resource that you are really most excited about right now?
Oh, that's a loaded question. There's so much the Teach Better team has built. The Teach Better team originally was known as the grid method, and it was two amazing gentlemen who found a way to structure mastery learning in a classroom that filled in all the gaps. There's so many concerns with self-paced learning, and teachers all around the world are dabbling with this concept, but how do you not just build it with grit and rigor, but then implement it purposefully? Well, I'm telling you, and I'm a little biased, but I didn't really believe that it existed until I used the grid method. And when I partnered with the grid method, which later became the Teach Better team, we realized that our reach was so much more than only focusing on mastery learning, but how can we take what we've each done in the classroom, take what we've been able to build for our students, the impacts we've been able to make, and then scale that so we can reach more students through the amazing teachers in our network. So the Teach Better team, if you look at it right now, if you went to teachbetter.com, what do? We have a podcast, which you mentioned, so thank you for that. We have a weekly Twitter chat on Thursday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern time for hashtag MasteryChat. One of my favorite things we do is we have an online course academy. Our Teach Better Academy is just full of oodles of online professional development that you can get in your pajamas, which in my mind is the best way to get professional development. But I also love that we are in districts. We do everything from a introduction to a topic so a principal can feel supported and kind of explaining this new initiative they're working on. We do workshops, we do district implementations, which in my mind is the coolest thing ever because I get to actually be with the district for a number of years and be in the teachers' classrooms numerous times throughout the years. And I think that that's the way really everything should be implemented in a school system. It should never be a August discussion of, hey, guess what? We're going to jump into a really, really challenging new research data supportive technique, right? No, it's the support. So I love that the Teach Better team has started building that. And in addition, what you may not see on our website, but will soon, not to allude to anything that I'm not supposed to be talking about, but we're also publishing a book this year, Teach Better book. And I know. I'm so excited. And we have our Teach Better conference for the first time. We're hosting this November. So there are a lot of things.
There are a lot of things going on around Teach Better. So yeah, I want to come back to a number of those, but I don't want to forget about story time, Rae. Why don't you start out by taking us back before we get right back into all the amazing resources shared by Teach Better, and I'm excited about a lot of those. Share with us about a low moment or some kind of an experience of adversity that you've faced somewhere in your education journey, and then describe how you overcame it.
Yeah, this topic comes up a lot, I think. When we're able to talk education, I think the importance of where we came from is really at the root of then the type of educator we kind of build ourselves into. And for me, I hated education. I did. Oh my God, I did it so bad. And it's just the truth. I was a struggling student. I carried this IEP with me
Yeah.
all throughout my career. I was diagnosed LD in second grade, and it felt like a big neon sign, but like a bad one, like not the one that you think is cool that's over your head. Yeah. And for me, it was reading. It was a constant struggle, and it made every subject area hard. And even though I grew up in an amazing community with supports and incredible teachers, and incredible parents, I mean, I had the support of I wish all my students had, but it just was not my thing. And so I really lacked those aha moments and was so hungry for them, but just couldn't figure it out. So my kind of outlet for feeling like I had some worth was I was working at a dance studio, which was the best experience. And as I was working there almost full time, to be honest with you, most of my time through high school, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do for college. And I realized that if I really wanted to make an impact, I wanted to fix what I felt like were these gaps in education. So I, took my IEP with me, went to college, and became the goal of becoming a math teacher with purpose. And throughout that time, I've since, become very, very fortunate to learn a lot about the education system. But I think coming from the background of never really getting it, I think I'm the only sixth grade math teacher out there right now that got a D in sixth grade math. I'm pretty proud of that trophy.
Yeah.
But that definitely has been a low moment that I don't dwell on, but I take it with me. Your scars that you get throughout life really build into something. So that might be one for me.
Well, I think we have an extra special kind of empathy for the student that we were, right? And so you're coming from a unique perspective of, as you say, not really enjoying all those successes at that age, and yet you pushed through and you found a way, and now you're able to share that with students, which I think is amazing. Now, I have to ask, you're there at the end of high school, you're loving dance. What makes you go into math over, let's say, PE?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. I feel bad sometimes. I think I knock my parents, but they're amazing people. My parents wouldn't let me go into dance. It's the honest truth.
Yeah.
I was working at the dance studio. I had a plan. I was like, I'm going to go get a teaching certificate. I didn't really know what that meant, but in my mind, like those
Sure.
are the words you stream together. And then I'm going to go back, and I had the plan of taking over the business of the dance studio that I was working with. My mentor, my amazing dance coach, was at the time like looking for someone to kind of take over the business, and it was such a family business that it would have been perfect. And I would have loved it, and I really still to this day I'm like, I should go do that. But I also felt like it would have been the very practical route. It would have taken me more into business. And I still had this, as you said earlier, empathy for the student that I was sitting in class. Gosh, I would sit in 45-minute classes and understand 2 words that came out of my teacher's mouth, and it wasn't their fault. There was just something weird with my brain, and I really that was a mystery for me. I'm glad that I started exploring more of.
Okay, well, that makes sense. Rae, so coming back to some of the exciting visions that you mentioned earlier, I did make a note to ask you about the book. Now, that's super exciting. You said use the pronoun we. So is the book going to be a team effort with you and some of your partners there at Teach Better?
Oh, absolutely. The book is an amazing team effort. We're publishing with Dave Burgess, which we're thrilled to be
The
announcing.
best.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, the best. He's such a, he's the reason I met Jeff Gargas on the Teach Better team.
Oh, really? How did that happen?
Oh my gosh, no kidding. I was in a master's class at Illinois State University that required me to get on Twitter. And of course, I'm a bad student. I was like, okay, I'm going to log into Twitter and that's going to be it, right? I'll just
Yeah.
check that box. And I participated in a few Twitter chats, one of which was Dave Burgess's TLAP chat, right? If
Of
you
course,
haven't
yeah.
participated in that, by the way, you totally need to. It's like the best Twitter chat.
It's a great
I
one.
mean, aside from MasteryChat.
Yeah.
But he asked me to host, and I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, Dave. I think you're crazy. And how cool is it that he was messaging me on Twitter, right? Like I had a heart attack right then and there. And I was hosting, and I met Jeff Gargas, who was one of the co-founders of the Teach Better team. And from then on, I mean, we partnered and we started working together. And gosh, Jeff Gargas, Chad Ostrowski, and Tiffany Ott, I mean, they are the reason that I continue to be pushed in education. They are the bright minds that I'm surrounded with on the Teach Better team. And they're also the other authors of the book we're writing in August. So it's a lot of good stuff in there.
I absolutely love Jeff. Featured him on my podcast back on episode 31, and really one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet in this field. I'm sure you'll agree. I don't know your other two partners very well, but that is exciting to get all four names onto this book. And then tell us what it's going to be about. Sorry, I'm pushing you about this book here, but I'm curious.
No, we're proud of this book. It was kind of a whim. I never thought, I mean, geez, I just told you how bad of a reader I was, right? The humor in me writing a book, my grandmother is like having a ball thinking about this. But the book's just about the Teach Better philosophy. We kind of dabbled with what that meant, and it really just has to do with growth. It has to do with teachers not teaching better than you did today so that you could teach better tomorrow. And so this whole mentality of, finding just a few things to kind of level up each and every day,
Yes.
And enhance our classroom. So it's going to be great. A lot of the chapters are focused on one general idea and then the concept of how to do it better. And I think they'll have a lot of value. And to be honest, I know it seems silly, but having four authors, what I love is that we've not only embedded tactical approaches of what you're going to take back to your classroom the moment you read the words off the page, but also our personal stories. There's a lot of personal stuff in here for those of you interested in learning more about the team. This is like our secrets. I think we put it all in one book.
Well, I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it, and put me down for sure. Now, still on the Twitter theme and on the Teach Better philosophy, Rae, I've noticed you spend a lot of time at MasteryChat. You already mentioned it. So tell us a little bit more. I know this is one of those things where you feel like you talk about it all the time and everyone in your world hears about it. But for those sort of outside of that bubble or the uninitiated, what does it mean for teachers to teach with mastery in mind? What's mastery all about, and how should it shape their practice?
Yeah, so MasteryChat came about by Tiffany Ott, who's an incredible educator on our team. And I remember the phone call. She was like, hey guys, I think we should do a Twitter chat. And I'm like, what's a Twitter chat, right? It's like, no, at the time I had done a few, but I definitely didn't know what it meant to start one. And MasteryChat has grown into something that I never thought it would. I mean, we have hundreds of educators. Think about that. Hundreds of educators coming together for an hour chat on Thursday nights. And these are people from all around the world. That floors me, that it's not just somebody, sitting on their couch in Illinois, but I mean, Israel, Canada, I mean, these amazing places. And they're just talking shop. And I think MasteryChat originally had this idea of, okay, let's focus on mastery learning. How do we master this personalized approach in our classrooms? But it has transformed into, like you said, I mean, like the Teach Better philosophy, the movement of enhancing our craft. So sometimes we're touching on a up and coming concept that, new research has come out about. Sometimes we're refreshing our classroom management skills, but to be able to find an hour of time to sit and collaborate with educators around the world, that floors me. That's incredible.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why I love MasteryChat so much is we actually go live on Facebook before the chat. Then we go on Twitter, we do the chat for an hour, and then we go live on Facebook after to recap it. And it's interesting not just being able to highlight the amazing hosts we have, because how cool is it to just connect on that personal level with somebody bringing so much value to the chat, but then also the recap after is just a deeper dive, a deeper discussion into the topic. So we're really just trying to help teachers, grow from where they're at, and it's really fun.
Cool. So it's really back to that 1% better every day or every week kind of idea, right? That we're not trying to go from 0 to 100 overnight, but we're looking at one more thing we can improve and grow in. Is that sort of touching on the idea a little bit?
Absolutely. There are teachers, I'm one, included, that goes kind of 60 miles a minute, just trying to run. But I also think there's a practicality to, the balance of life. And if you can find one area to grow in every single day so you can teach just a little bit better than you did yesterday. I mean, think about how powerful teachers can be if that was how we all attacked
so
education.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good. Rae, let's have a little fun here and talk about PLNs and social media for a moment. Now, I've mentioned Twitter. We've both talked about Twitter a few times here, and you put out some awesome content there. So make sure you're following Rae if you are not already. But Rae, you also really crush it on Instagram. So you're putting out stories on a regular basis. And just looking over your feed, you've got a method to your post. There's some serious organization and design happening there. So from a PLN perspective, talk briefly about, first of all, what you prefer about each platform. And then when you're talking to a rookie teacher or maybe a teacher who is looking to start to get connected, where do you steer them first?
Oh, gosh. So Instagram to me, I so appreciate the compliment, but Instagram to me is a mystery. I am still figuring Instagram out. I'm not sure. Josie Bensko, Maniacs in the Middle on Instagram.
Yeah.
Who I think has like 60,000. I mean, she's an insane educator. She's one that I think is really killing Instagram. But she works in my district. So I actually teach in the same building as her. I snuck her over to the dark side to work in my building last year. And I sat down with her over coffee. This was last summer. So summer of 18. And I said, girl, teach me about Instagram. Like Twitter, I get, I'm playing with Twitter 2 or 3 times a week, doing a Twitter chat. What's the deal with Instagram? And, she's got so many quick tips, but the reality is that it is a different network. On Twitter, you have teachers that are really hungry for rich discussion. And that's what I really like about Twitter is that there's focused conversations happening with those Twitter chats. On the flip side, Instagram is so much more about slow moving conversation. Have you found that to be true?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So everything's kind of there for you to see, and you can look at posts, and usually in the comments, there's a value there that you can take away. And then there's these stories, which hopefully you catch, and they're more of like hiccups in the day that you can pull value from, but it's a completely different style of educator. And so I've actually gone on Instagram with this goal of wanting to connect with, I don't want to just connect with one type of teacher. I want to connect with all of them. I'm gaining so much value learning from them. So Instagram's been a new game for me. I've been on for a little over a year, or a little under a year, I guess. And I'm realizing that Twitter for me is so much more professional. I'm sharing articles, I'm sharing blogs, podcasts, things like that. And then we're having discussions about specific topics when warranted. Instagram is, gosh, if you want to get to know my day-to-day life, you go to Instagram. I'm still posting education, but it's more of a different type of dive, a different lens in what the day-to-day looks like. So in terms of a new teacher, I think Instagram's easy for new teachers. I think that they kind of get it. But if you really want to learn about a new idea, I think Twitter's got to be the spot. You got to go find a Twitter chat with that new idea so you can learn more about it. So it really depends on what you want to dabble with first. But if you're a new teacher or trying to figure out social media, feel free to message me. We could debate this for a long time.
Well, that was really well said, and I don't think I can add anything to that. I think they're both great places to hang out, but Yeah, right now I definitely find myself. I look at those weekly reports. I don't know if you have an iPhone, but I get those weekly time reports, and I can see the breakdown. And right now, Twitter is definitely my go-to. No denying that.
Well, but isn't it interesting though? I do like Instagram that they could see your face. Like obviously on Twitter you can go live, but on Instagram there is a fun little, like even just the you and me connected. Like it's so nice to kind of see your face through your stories and not just hear what you're saying or read what you're saying, but I feel like I have a personal connection by seeing your Instagram stories. So it really depends on how you like to receive content. My one suggestion to any teacher dabbling with Instagram is that you should enjoy every moment. There's a lot of value. We said that a ton, but fluff ain't enough. And so if you're going to be on Instagram, ensure that you are exposing yourself to
Right.
content that is more than fluff, because then we can start growing. That's the goal.
Yes, it's got to be more than Pinterest, right? I mean, it's got to be more than finely curated pictures of storage containers and beautiful
And it exists.
classrooms.
You just have to find it. It's on Instagram. It's there.
Totally.
Just go hunt for it.
Tons. But yeah, tell me how your learners are learning, to show me how they are engaging. And I know you're doing a great job of exactly that. So moving on, Rae, this next question is always a fun one for me. I love to hear about what's going on for you outside of education. So what is it that ignites your passions, brings you alive as a human being when we leave this thing we call education?
Oh gosh, is this like a hobby outside of work? How dare you ask me that?
I know. And we already talked about dance, so maybe we've covered that one, but is there something else that you obsess about a little bit on the side?
You know, yeah, I think that the right answer is like people who are like, yes, I'm a runner, right? Like Adam Welcome is like trying to get me to be a
Yeah,
runner, and I'm like, dude, it ain't happening. Like, there's not a chance. I can walk up the stairs just fine. But totally lame. I am obsessed with my dogs. I got two
nice.
poodle mixes at home, and I live a pretty busy life working two full-time jobs. And I've realized that if you really want to know what like refuels me, it's spending some time with the dogs. And I'm going to be the
Mm,
loser to tell you that on this beautiful and actually very rainy Sunday morning, I will be taking my dog out on a walk. We're going to go to Lowe's because you can bring your dog there. And how cool is that? And that will be like the highlight of my day. Like if I can spend some time with the two dogs, I'm in a good spot. I'm a little obsessed with
all
them.
right. Well, we'll take it. That's we all need those, whether it's a hobby or some other area of focus that brings us energy and helps us recharge. So dogs it is. And I would imagine there are some good pictures on your Instagram feed of the dogs.
Oh, there are, and they are. Yeah, they're Batman characters. I got Harvey Dent and Alfred Pennyworth, so go look them up. They're adorable.
Now, Rae, you are electric, as I introduced you at the opening. You just said you're working two full-time jobs essentially. How do you make it all happen? Share with us about one of your little personal habits or productivity hacks that contributes to your success.
I think the most important thing to realize is that most of the people that you're exposed to that look like they're killing it aren't doing it on their own. And I think that I need to not only remind myself that, but remind other people. I'm not doing a good enough job recently reminding other people of that. I am busy, let's be honest, and I love my jobs. I mean, I so appreciate that you think I'm electric because really I just love what I do, and I'm glad it comes across as, passion, because it is. It's pure passion. But there is not a chance in the world that I'd be doing half of what I'm doing if I didn't have a team. And it's not just a team of people on the Teach Better team. I mean, gosh, how amazing is it that I have, 4+. I mean, the company is built on far more than just 4 people that are helping all these things function. But my team at school, I work with an amazing staff that puts up with the chaos. And I have a full-time student teacher and a co-teacher, and it's endless support. So one of my biggest, if I had to look at like a productivity hack, is the only way to accomplish things is to kind of hold hands and move together as a village. And building that network, building that village for yourself is essential. I mean, gosh, I don't know how anybody does it alone.
Love it. Love it. Great message. Now, I'm going to ask you just before we jump into our quick picks, do you have a to-do list kind of manager somewhere? I'd love to hear about how you sort of keep track of what needs to be done. What's your go-to app in that space?
Have you ever used Google Keep?
Yeah.
Okay, so Google Keep is where I keep like the normal things.
Right.
We also have a task management system with the Teach Better team called Basecamp, which I love because it's kind of like a to-do list checkbox. You know, it's cool. But we can add things to each other's plate. So like you were joking about Jeff Gargas earlier, I always add to his checklist. I'm like, hey, Jeff, did you take care of this?
Yeah. Just
Drives me
throw it on
crazy.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I
Yeah.
think anything that I can write down a task and then have the satisfaction of crossing it off is like the
Yeah.
best system ever. I also live solely by my calendar. So if
Mm.
you're not on my calendar, it's probably not happening.
Yeah. No, 100%. Now, do you use Google Tasks?
You know, I don't. I use Google Calendar and Google Keep, but I don't. Tell me more about that.
Well, I mean, so you and I are looking at a Google Doc right now, and just over on the right side, you can click tasks, that little tasks icon. And so that's my go-to, and I just love the fact that for the longest time, Google Tasks was not on an app. And I sort of had to get a third-party app to sync it with my phone, but now they do have a Google Tasks app, and so that's my task app of choice. But
How cool is
I'm
that?
always
I just
interested to
clicked
hear what other people are using. Keep operates much the same way. If you want to use it for tasks, it can definitely do the job. But yeah, I'm enjoying Google Tasks, and yeah, it's doing the job as well. So that's cool.
Well, I'm putting this on my to-do list to go figure out because it looks pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
add it as your first task. Check this out. All right, so Rae, I know you have something similar on your show. So you've heard a lot of other people's ideas and opinions here, but I'd like to hear your quick picks, the education voices and resources that are really shaping your practice and inspiring your thinking today. So starting at Twitter, we talked about Twitter. Tell us about someone we should follow there and share why they've been inspiring you lately.
Yeah, we do this on our Teach Better Talk, and I get nervous every time for the other person. So I guess I'm nervous
Yeah,
for myself. Thankfully, I'm hoping that you don't have a timer on your end because
not at
okay,
all.
good.
No.
Jeff Gargas totally does. It freaks me out. In terms of Twitter, I mentioned him earlier. You should obviously go check out the Teach Better team and everybody on it. I mean, between Tiffany Ott, Chad Ostrowski, and Jeff Gargas, those are my people. But if I wasn't going to go cliche and I had to pick somebody else, I got to talk about Adam Welcome. I think it's important for people to connect with people on Twitter who not only add immediate value, but challenge you to learn about new ideas and also care about you enough to connect you with then people who can support you. And he's got this like balance down pat. So he's been a great mentor for me, good friend, and he'd be the one I go follow.
Point us to an ed tech tool that you currently love using in your classroom or your professional practice.
I'm going to have to go Seesaw. I don't work for Seesaw, although I feel like I want to because they're awesome. But in my classroom, my students operate within 25 different themed internships that are all sponsored by local businesses. And they do this method at their own pace. So I not only have combined this mastery learning grid method framework, but I'm also putting together this teach further model that's connecting our communities to our classrooms. And the only way it functions is because at the end of the class hour, every student has 5 minutes of goal setting and reflection. And the goal setting and reflection that they do, they house within Seesaw, which is so fun because then not only are they getting the benefit of that, but then I get to see it and so do their parents. And so for me, Seesaw has been the missing piece that I lacked for so long of having my parents really have this portal into my classroom each and every day. It's so cool.
I am on Seesaw for the first time this year, Rae, and it is blowing my mind. I was a little bit skeptical, to be fair. I was skeptical at first, but I'm fully on board now. And yes, I love what you said about parent engagement. I'm sure you've had this experience where your class posts something, whatever it is that you've asked them to post, and then before you can even get to it, parents are already offering encouragement. And
Oh, they are.
do you ever get
Yep.
parent critique?
Oh gosh, constantly, of course. But I think as an early a young teacher, I was terrified of that. I was like, oh my gosh, a parent commented and it wasn't, all positivity. But I think that that's kind of this natural ownership. In my classroom, I'm
Right.
shifting student ownership that they really own their learning. Nobody has the power to stop you except for you. And don't give that power to me. Don't give that power to mom or dad. Don't give that power to your friend. Like, you are completely in charge. And if somebody takes that away from you, then you allowed that to happen. So when you're talking about Seesaw and that accountability, I love that my parents are hungry to hold their students accountable and comment on something and encourage something, because I have 150 kids I see throughout one day. I mean, there's no way for me to be able to manage all that. So they're my village. They're my people who are holding everybody accountable. And it's good that they hold me accountable, because that's my job,
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
it's important that we have that back and forth conversation.
Oh, I love it. It's been so positive. And yeah, again, if you're new to the idea of the online portfolio, it really gets fun. It's exciting. And by the time you get to your parent-teacher conferences or student-teacher parent conferences, however that works in your school, really, I mean, parents have a very clear picture of what to expect, right? If they've been following along on Seesaw and you've been documenting the whole way, it's a very highly visible, highly connected, highly engaging process. And it just adds so much value and so much support for the learners ultimately. So
Yeah, when you talk about parent-teacher conferences, that's an important piece, right? That used to be the time that the parents would come in for the first time in months and learn about their kids' success. The
right.
reality is that ignorance is a choice in this day and age of how connected the internet is, right? Like, we can update our parents in a moment if you want to. And as a teacher, putting in supports where that's easy for you to do versus another task on your to-do list, Seesaw makes it really easy. But the other thing, I don't know have you ever considered doing video emails?
I was just thinking about that yesterday, but no, I haven't.
Oh my gosh, it has saved my life. And I'm not kidding. And this is totally dramatic, but it changed my parent teacher conferences. At the beginning of the year now, anything I want to push out to my parents, I do via video. And of
Wow.
course, there's a few things that you can't hit, right? You have a few parents, but let's be honest, most people have access to a phone or something. And so when I do that, they feel like they know me because
Yeah.
they've seen a video of their children talking about me. They've seen videos of me explaining things. I mean, geez, at this point in my career now, if I get like the same question twice in an email within a 2-day span, I make a video and just answer the question for everyone, because it saves me time. And then my parents, when they come to parent-teacher conferences, I had a parent this year be like, "Hi, Miss Hughart, I just want to meet you in person, but I don't have any questions because I feel like I talk to you every day." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yeah."
How do you push those out, Ray? Through Seesaw?
Oh, it's super easy. I don't use Seesaw. I'm pretty sure you can, but I am not smart enough to have thought of that until right this moment. I just record videos on my computer or phone. I upload them to YouTube, and then I mass send out the link. And then we have a Facebook group for the Teach Better team, and I share those out as examples for other teachers, being like, "Hey, this is what I pushed out to my parents. Have you thought about answering this question via video?" So it's just easy. It's
Totally.
easy.
And then do you make those videos unlisted?
Yes, that's the best way to do it. Do all unlisted, because
Right.
then if they have the
Yeah.
link, they can see it, but it's not like
Yeah.
public necessarily.
Still secure.
Still secure.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we need to hear more about that. I hope that makes it into the book, but that's just personal bias. Very, very
talk more.
cool. Parent newsletters by video. Think about it, educators. We need to move on. Tell us about a book. Now, I'm entering my spring break over here, so I should have a little bit more reading time. Tell us about one that you've been reading lately, or maybe one of your all-time faves, and let us know why you recommend it.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a new one. Educated by Design by the Tech Rabbi, which is Michael Cohen. And
Mm-hmm.
this just came out within the past few months. I had the opportunity to meet the Tech Rabbi earlier in January of this year. And it was about the nicest compliment ever. I, first of all, think he's like cooler than sliced bread. So I was super
Amazing.
nervous fangirling out to talk to him. And he looked at me, he goes, "Oh, you're the teacher with the big chalk wall in your classroom." And I may have fallen on the floor and died. I just think he is so slick. He's got so much charisma and passion, and his new book was a big deal for him. So any way that I can support him is good. So you need to all go check out Educated by Design by the Tech Rabbi.
That one's on my list. Every podcast I've heard with Michael Cohen has blown my mind. He is a very smart guy, so I'll have to second that. And besides our wonderful podcasts, Rae, the best, tell us about one of your go-tos. And it doesn't have to be from the education space, but when you are on your commute or working out or whenever it is that you get to listen to podcasts, what's near the top of your list?
Yeah, I'm going to go non-education. We've talked a lot about education so far. So I'm, part of the clan of the Rachel Hollis group. I love Rachel Hollis, and her Rise podcast and also her Rise Together podcast are two podcasts that are, I think everybody's seen them because they're on all the best-selling whatever, but they're powerful. They talk a lot about business, but she's got a good mindset for a lot of those things that she's discussing. So love the Rise podcast.
Tell us about a YouTube channel that is at the top of your subscription list, one that you enjoy and one that we need to check out.
All right, super cliche. TED Talks for sure. Sorry to be cliche. It's just the truth. There's a ton of value there. So why try and recreate it? They're smart people. Go check out TED Talks, whether it be for teachers or students.
Absolutely. And then last question, purely non-educational, but just for fun. What are you watching on Netflix right now, Rae?
Okay, I had to go look up the title because I watch it and I'm like a diehard, but I couldn't think of the title yesterday when you sent me this. Okay, have you ever seen Person of Interest?
No.
Oh, God. Okay, so you have to go watch it. It is on Netflix. I don't know anyone in the world who watches the show besides me, and you're going to watch it, so you'll be a new viewer.
Of course.
But it's super addictive. There's like 5 seasons, and it doesn't even end. I think it got canceled. There's no conclusion you're really working towards, but it is an awesome show, Person of Interest. Go check it out.
Rae, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for your flexibility and accommodation to jump on here with me on fairly short notice. What are the best ways for the listeners to follow you and get more of that great Teach Better content?
I appreciate it. No, this has been so fun, and you make it easy. I appreciate that. It's so easy.
Oh, thanks, Rae.
In terms of connecting, I love connecting. Please don't just stop listening to this podcast and move on to the next awesome episode, but feel free to reach out on whatever social media makes sense to you. I am at Rae Hughart, literally everywhere, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Voxer. Find me at Rae Hughart. Also, I have to give a shout out to the Teach Better team. They are at the Teach Better team everywhere as well on Twitter and Instagram. One thing I did want to mention is I mentioned earlier, but there's an awesome Facebook group of over 1,000 educators that are just on this pursuit of better. And so if you search on Facebook, Teach Better Team private Facebook group, that is an amazing collection of awesome people that I would encourage everybody to get to. And then, of course, as a reminder, there'll be the book coming out in the early fall of next year or this year called Teach Better. And of course, we have our Teach Better conference in November. You should come join us. Then you could connect in face to face, right? How cool would that be?
That would be awesome. Is that in Illinois or where are you hosting?
We are going to be in Ohio, and the website is going live. Well, we're recording right now. It's going live tomorrow. So hopefully it's live by the time this podcast is released. But the Teach Better conference will be fabulous. I'm stoked for that. So if you're wanting to be a little bit more connected in our network, come join us.
Well, I am a big fan of everything that comes out from you guys. I'll definitely do my part to help promote that event. And again, Rae, I just so appreciate your time. Thank you for sharing that rainy Sunday morning with the podcast today. What a pleasure to finally connect. And hey, it was fun to find out we have that Seesaw commonality and a few other areas of interest. So I look forward to seeing more from you online. But take care, enjoy the rest of your day, and let's talk again soon.
Absolutely. I've been a fan of yours for a while, so this was definitely a bucket list, getting to chit chat with you. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for joining me here today on the Teachers on Fire podcast. For show notes and links from this episode, visit teachersonfire.net. You can also follow the show at Teachers on Fire on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Medium. And again, please do subscribe to the show wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm your host, Tim Cavey, saying goodbye for now, and we'll catch you next time right here on the Teachers on Fire podcast.